still going left. Point dagger, wide shallow cross. Oh, hey, still there.
Ed was the worst, maybe in the history of football, about taking hits.
2800! Come on! Elway boots and rolls to his right, stops, loads it up, throws down deep the middle of the field. Rod Smith's got it!
Rod, he was a guy who, when he came into camp, he didn't say much. He was a guy who worked extremely hard, but he wasn't going to talk.
Move over Brett Favre and make room for the new king.
Playing with DT, he was just that first big receiver that could run 4-3.
Sanders has it, foot racing, here we go. Sanders 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, to the house.
Emmanuel Sanders, I call him the Black Cheetah. He's so freaking fast.
DT, when I first saw him, and you saw how big he is and how fast he is, I couldn't believe how well he was able to run routes and what kind of route runner he was. And I think that's what separated him, and that's what allowed him to be so successful. He could get in and out of his breaks, and that's rare for a guy his size. And so that stood out to me right away.
Throws, pass off, Demaryius Thomas, out over the 45, midfield, here we go, 40, 35, foot race, 20, 15, 10, touchdown, Denver, it's over! It's over in Denver!
BT, that's my brother. We've done so many things on the football field, but our relationship off the field are what will define us in the long run. And I didn't play on the offense, but I spent more time with DT than anybody. His family was my family was his. And, it was great playing with a guy like DT.
I think DT was around 225, and he ran all the routes, had great hands, and he was just always strong at the line to be able to press, and very smart, intelligent of the game. And DT always wanted to win it. He always wanted to win. He wanted to win as bad as me, so that's what I love about DT.
Shotgun snap, pass to Demaryius Thomas. Thomas at the 1 and steps into the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
So I played with him early on, and then when I came back and was teammates with him again, and I saw the improvement that he had made, but also I knew that him working with Peyton Manning would take his game to the next level, and certainly that's what it did.
Throws deep right. He's got Demaryius Thomas there. Thomas goes up, makes the catch, keeps his balance, backpedals into the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
One thing about DT is he didn't stop. He was like one of those wide receivers, not just being big and fast, but he always was 100% on every single one of his plays. If it was a little screen play, he can run for 80, or is it a 9 route that he's catching a big bomb from Peyton Manning. And just to see how he played, he practiced how he played every single play, and that's what made him great.
Brandon, he wanted his stardom. It was a transition period for me leaving the league and him coming in. And he wanted his stardom from the NFL. He wanted to prove, he was a 4th-round draft pick, and he didn't like that too much, and he wanted that so bad. And I said, man, listen, I can show you how to get it, but it's gonna be a different approach. And honestly, to this day, Brandon and I are still close, still talk, still root for each other in life and in business. And I shared it with him, and he did it. So it's one thing to hear it, but it's another thing to embrace it and do it. And he did it. I still brag about him to this day. Early in his career, he needed more guidance than he had in his life, and unfortunately went through some stuff. But here's the thing: he went and started seeking help, and he got the help, and he went out there and transformed himself into, as he calls himself, the beast, because he definitely was a beast on the football field.
Elway drops straight back, fires into the end zone, ball's tipped in the air, and caught! McCaffrey, touchdown! Eddie McCaffrey has got a touchdown! Ball is tipped in the air, McCaffrey comes down with it, and how do you like those Broncos?
He just has to be in the right place at the right time. We've drawn it up a whole bunch of times in practice.
He was a huge fan favorite. He was super reliable. I don't know if Eddie Mack dropped a pass. Ran great routes, especially to be as big and tall as he was. Man, I wouldn't want to play against our offense back then. Him, Rod Smith, Shannon Sharp. That's a tough wide receiver core to try and jam, because they're both big and strong and physical off the line of scrimmage. And then they have great hands as well, and they knew the offense inside and out.
Wide open, McCaffrey, yeah! All right! 35-30, 25-20, Eddie Mack inside the
Ed would cut all the lining out of his equipment. He cut down his jock strap so it was like string thin, you know, just because it was all like, well, that's extra weight, and I don't want extra weight. Like, I want to be, like, I'm not the fastest guy out here, so I need to be, you know, I need to eliminate all the weight. And Ed, you know, Ed's a big guy.
Elway, short drop, looks right, throws right, wide open, McCaffrey, end zone, touchdown, Denver!
He would literally cut the lining out of his number, and you see shrapnel of jersey and pants all on the floor for every game. I'm like, dude, your pants are light as hell. I was like, how did you do that? Ed was the one who originally created the football tights. It was Ed. He cut all the lining out of his pants. He didn't wear pads in his pants. He did so many things that were kind of quirky, but that was Ed.
3:27 left in the fourth.
In Super Bowl 32, we get in that last drive where we get this touchdown drive, and Eddie he just knocks the snot out of this linebacker, Williams. And I'll never forget, because you can see it on the film on the replay.
Here it comes right now. Goodbye. What a block by McCaffrey.
Mike Shanahan has said Ed McCaffrey is the best blocking wide receiver I've ever seen in the National Football League.
Eddie's standing over Brian Williams, like pointing in his face, like, because, you know, those guys, Eddie and Rod, they took pride in throwing those blocks.
McCaffrey 10, McCaffrey hit it to 5, to the end zone, touchdown!
Ed and I had a silent rivalry that we never spoke of. But the thing was that I knew Ed was gonna be able to work so hard that I had to work harder. And then he had to work hard, but we never said anything, but we cared about each other.
Yeah, Rod and I go way back to when he was coming off the practice squad and I had just gotten cut and then re-signed with the Broncos, and we kind of had to climb the ladder together as scout team guys, and then we'd make side bets on who can knock the most guys down in the run game because they weren't throwing us the football.
We would get in the game to block guys and knock them down. We would count how many knockdowns we had because we didn't have any catches. And Ed brought that to me, like, hey, listen, let's just count how many guys we pancake. That's what we would call it.
And we got to share many, many years, ups and downs, and but it meant a lot to me to have someone in that receivers room who I was not only competing with and was pushing me to be the best I could be, but I was trying to do the same for him. But we were also rooting for each other. And I think those were some special teams we had. And Rod was one of those special players.
You know, we had some nights, man, we just lit it up. You know, it was a more pick your poison type deal. And I love playing with him, man. I love everything about him because he was a true friend. Till to this day, we're close. And, you know, I root for his sons now who are battling their way through the NFL and dominating in some areas and you know, still trying to make it. But his family's been close to my family for years, and I'm always rooting for Ed McCaffrey.
It was just a really special time in my career where I got to be friends with somebody who I was competing with for the same job, but also was rooting for. I wanted him to succeed more than anything, and he wanted me to succeed, and I don't know, that was rare.
Be ready, Rod. Rod Smith.
Well, they're going to throw the Hail Mary here with 6 seconds to go, feeling it is outside of Elam's range. Elway's in the shotgun, steps up in the pocket, looking long. Here goes the pass. Rod Smith up. He got it! Broncos win!
I remember we were in training camp, and he came across the middle one time. We had a collision, and he went down to the ground. He popped back up, and many years later, he said, "Man, that hit hurt, man." But he didn't say anything. He didn't talk noise, and you know, I always had a lot of respect for the way that he worked. And that's something that was instilled in him, I think, just from the path that he took to, you know, have success in the NFL, and he still kind of carries that today, man. He's a wonderful guy, wonderful leader. We were fortunate to have him on our team.
In the pocket, plenty of time, Elway. Deep down the middle of the field for Rod Smith. Smith's got it! Inside the 10, 5, touchdown! And here goes Rod Smith, 30, 20. You can forget it. Lost one down the left sideline. Rod Smith, touchdown! Oh, what a great job by Rod Smith.
We used to joke around in our meeting room that if Rod went to running back, he'd get 1,400 yards. Rod was just a great football player, had great understanding and knowledge of the game.
All of a sudden, Rod Smith is wide open.
Big again. He wants it all. Smith wide open. Rod Smith 10, 5, touchdown!
He's wide open. Sanders in a foot race. Here we go. Sanders 20, 15, 10. He shows the football. Touchdown, Denver.
Emmanuel Sanders, I call him the Black Cheetah. He's so freaking fast. He hasn't lost a step yet. Even with the injury, he hasn't lost a step. And that's what really makes him great is his route running. He's very precise in his route running, and he comes out of his breaks, and then he hits the gas pedal. And you better run after him once you get there. So that's what makes him great. He doesn't have any drops. You notice that every single thing you throw to him, he catches it, no matter what size he is. He's like freaking sticky hands. So that makes him great.